It's time to export the knowledge. This video will be looking at displaying categorical data. Let's look at some categorical data. Types of phones that you see before you is the types of phones that a class has. You can see that it appears to be mainly banana phones. Let's collect this data into a frequency table. There should be two main columns in this table: the type of phone and the frequency. The frequency can be displayed in two ways, so we split the column in two: frequency as a number and frequency as a percentage respectively. Last row in our frequency table is the total. This is where we add our values to make sure that we have collected all of the data. Count the data up. We have 16 banana phones and 8 HTTPS phones. If we add 16 and 8, we can see that we have a total of 24 phones in the class. Now we can work out the percentage of each category. We do this by getting the frequency of the category and dividing it by the total frequency, and then timesing by 100. This gives us our percentage of our category. We can do this for both the banana phones and the HTTPS phones. So we get 16 divided by 24 times 100, which simplifies to 2/3 times 100, which is 66.67% rounded to two decimal places. For the HTTPS phones, we get 8 divided by 24 times 100, which simplifies to 1/3 times 100, which is 33.33%. Now we can add the percentages to get the total percentage frequency. To do so, we get 100%. It's okay to get 99.9% or 100.1% when rounding. Otherwise, it will be 100%. Now, to work out these percentages, you don't have to do them by hand. You can just put them into your CAS calculator or scientific calculator, get a percentage. Using the frequency table, you can make a bar chart or column graph to represent the data. Both of these graphs are the same, they've just got two different names. Start with a frequency bar chart, which is just, we have on the vertical axis the frequency. If it was a percentage bar chart, we would have the percentage on the vertical axis. The horizontal axis will be our categories. So we'll mark our vertical axis from 0 to 17. You can put it to 0 to 16 if you want, but if we go from 0 to 17, have some extra space. Then label our horizontal axis with two categories. Now we're ready to put in our bars. Something to note is that the bars have gaps in between them, unlike a histogram, which we'll go over in a different video. So our first bar will go all the way to 16, represent our banana phones, and the second one will go to 8. Now if we wanted to make a percentage frequency bar chart, we can change the scale on the vertical axis to percentages, and we can draw our bars again with the adjusted scale. So now we've represented the data in two different ways. We can move on to a segmented bar chart. A segmented bar chart is similar to a bar chart, but instead of having multiple bars, we have one single bar that's divided up our categories. Use the frequency first, then we'll try a percentage segmented bar chart. Now our scale must go from 0 to 24, because when we make a segmented bar chart, the height of the bar represents all of the data. So we'll start with the banana phone going to 16. And then on top of that, we'll have our HTTPS phones going to 24. Now this does not mean that the HTTPS phones are all of the data. The height of that segment is the frequency for that category. So in this case, 16 to 24 is representing 24 minus 16, which equals 8, which is our frequency. The order of the segments doesn't matter, What does matter is that you have the appropriate heights. Now, one important thing that you can't forget with a segmented bar chart is that you have to include a key. Tell viewer or the reader what category is what. Now, if we change this to a percentage scale, it will range from 0% to 100%. So now we're using percentages as the heights of the segments. So we can adjust our segments to reflect our data, as you can see to the right. Now that we've done all this, we can start talking about the distribution of the data. When we're writing a paragraph or a report on the data, we need to give context to the data first. So we need to mention how many people were surveyed, who was surveyed. It may be relevant to mention what categories we are collecting, or it can start with something like a class of 24 students were asked about what phone they own. Now in this example, it's unnecessary to mention that we have the banana phone and the HTTPS phone at this stage. If we were doing a report on blood pressure, for example, and we had the categories low, medium, high, then have to say however many people were surveyed about their blood pressure on a scale of low, medium, high. After we've given context, we need to state the most common category. This is known as the mode or modal category. So our next line can say the modal category was banana phone with 66.67%. Now it's important to attach some values and if possible use percentages. Percentages are preferred. Now go through the rest of the categories, listing them and their percentages in order. So we'll go from the most to least frequent. So we can finish off saying that the remaining 33.33% were the HTTPS phone. And that will conclude our paragraph. So that's it for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below or contact me on social media and I will see you in the next video.